Each one of these binders, look at the binders in front of you. Study the outside, the colors, the designs. Feel the good energy radiating, guiding off of you. And each one of these binders represents an expansion you'll partake in as the creator of Symbolicy series. Each one of these binders represents an expansion you will partake in as the creator of the Symbolicy series. And each one of the expansions will bring new insights, new life changes, and positive. So here I am about 20 years later, reconnecting with my hypnotherapy book material, my school material. I've always had a strong desire to help people see the light within themselves. So after the completion of the program, as though my heart was in it, I felt that at the age of 20, I kind of needed to have a little bit more life experience, find my own light, my own love, my own passions, my own spiritual connection. And that way, down the road, I could then help people find it themselves, help them find it within themselves. So now revisiting this material will give me that opportunity to kind of reconnect to this material after 20 years, and like it's a whole new perspective. And here I'm now incorporating a part of my life to kind of better myself, to better reprogram some new ideas and concepts to help me take it to the next level. And I still have a strong desire to help people on this one-on-one level. So hopefully maybe tapping back into this will allow me to tap into the idea of becoming this offbeat hypnotherapist during the day and this spiritually creative creator by night, best of both worlds. So another reason why I'm tapping back into the hypnotherapy book is the story of Symbolicy. In the story of Symbolicy, Simon J. Moyer, the man, the myth, the legend of this story, I wrote him as a hypnotherapist in the late 70s, this healer, this creator, this spiritual madman, and I think by tapping back into the binder, it'll allow me to kind of better tell his story, better understanding to where he's coming from. But at the same time, it'll open me up to tap into things that I haven't tapped into a long time, to open up confidence, creativity, and whatnot, and help prepare for the next stages of my creative development. So hopefully by blending these two together, that'll just be one of the exercises to help me get to that next level of opening. And I feel that his story and my story, with the aspects of opening up and laying the foundation for a positive road, kind of begins right now with where I'm at and where I've written him throughout his journey. And as you relax, imagine a bright gold. One thing that I really liked doing was incorporating my own self-hypnosis tapes. I would do the induction, and then I would read a meditation from my dream book or a Celtic shamanism book to help guide me to those higher planes, those higher ideas. And with 20 years kind of passed from doing all this, I think I'm going to take that idea and bring it back. As I view this, I'm going to take what's best for me in this booklet and kind of help retrain, reprogram my mind at this level where I'm at to move forward, to take it to the next level. Deeper and deeper relaxed. Now in this beautiful neck of the woods, you notice. So the last thing I'm going to get is kind of going through all this material is open me up so I can prepare myself for the next stages of the Symbolicy expansions. Now inside these expansions are all about dreaming and writing stories, using the universe as a guide to kind of create this kind of style of art and creative energy. So by preparing myself now, the transition going into these expansions will be a lot smoother and a little bit more prepared mentally, creatively, and spiritually. So yeah, there we go. The journey began. 7, 6, 5. Deeper and deeper relax. 4, 3, 2, and there you are with the binders. So on many levels, I do feel that I had to go through Doors Symbolicy not only to open myself up as a creator, but also to transform love, death, travel into newborn awakening. Years ago, I was fortunate to kind of enter this Doors bubble, this big dome of just Doors material. And inside there, I was able to build and create an honoring and tribute to Jim Morrison and the Doors. But as time went on, I just kept building to a point where I was running out of space. I had to stop because I was out of space and I was running out of material. So I just said, all right, let's let it go, let it breathe, let it do its thing. As I was exiting, I looked up what I created and I realized that I still have a strong connection to the characters, the story, and of course the vision that I received. So I said, somehow, someway I want to make this film. So the first thing I want to do is give it a new name, a new feel, a new energy, and that's when Newborn Awakening was created. So as I return to Newborn Awakening now, it's going to be a whole new story to tell. Now that it's been 3 years, part of the Symbolicy expansion is to kind of go back in time to revamp old projects, including Newborn Awakening. And so the goal of this expansion is to get Newborn Awakening to its purest form, both creatively and professionally. Because of the unique situation that this script was created, there are certain rules I have to kind of abide by in order to successfully make this film happen. So the first thing I plan on doing is going back to that Doors bubble. It's there that I see Newborn Awakening behind a fence. And in front of that fence in this little ticket booth is the Doors manager. And I let him know my intentions of taking Newborn Awakening to the next level. And I'm just hoping that maybe you can let me know what I can and cannot do. He gave me the perfect response of letting me know that, that I was a tad close, some of my examples. But he left me with the rule of thumb. And indicating that would an average member of the public be confused into thinking that the new name represented the old. So I took his message with me and I kind of left knowing that I had a lot of work ahead of me to make this thing happen. Here are all the notes and memos and the drafts and the rewrites and all the transformations that Newborn Awakening has taken on in the last couple of months. But all that kind of work has kind of led me right to this kind of script right now where I feel strong, and if there was no problem making this film, this is the script that I would roll with right now. And though it's far from being professionally completed, it is at a perfect point to take on the pinnacle of moving forward. And so hopefully this will be the final stages of making it happen. So to complete the mission, I plan on returning to the Doors bubble, and it's there that I now will hand over the newest version, the one I feel really good about, of Newborn Awakening to the manager of the Doors. And it's my hopes that he could read it, edit it, and kind of officially let me know what I can leave in, what can I say, what can I not say, and return it to me. And that way I'm left with all this data and all this material to kind of take with me and to blend together with my imagination to complete Newborn Awakening. All right, so I feel it's time now to kind of represent the manager with all my information I have, send it to him, and hopefully we'll get some good results. So I'm going to put some good energy into it, and hopefully it'll come right back to me, and we can actually move forward with Newborn Awakening. So yeah, let's see. Here we go. Wish me luck. Here we go. All right, I did it. So hopefully this is going to work out. Hopefully everything all works well, and we can take it to the next stages. Go. Yikes. There's a strong crossover between Symbolicy the Script and Symbolicy the Experimental Series. To give you a little taste of the script, 4 film students come across the work of the mystic Simon J. Moyer. And there's about 3 boxes, and it's filled with material, dated, undated, scattered all over the place. So the filmmakers decide to split it 4 ways. And it's then that the filmmakers become more of a subject of their own documentary. Because it's then they all split, they all organize the material. They also experience an expansion led by Simon that opens them up, and then they eventually all come together, organize it completely, put them into working binders, and present them as gifts. And speaking of gifts, I was fortunate enough to receive one shortly after I completed the second half of the Symbolicy series. I was given 18 binders. And it was then I had the material I needed to start the third half of my Symbolicy project called Boxes to Binders. And so that's when I also knew that I was crossing that bridge again, because I too, like Simon, had several boxes of material scattered, dated, undated, whatnot. It was then that I recycled all this old material, kept all the good stuff, organized it, put them into working binders as a gift to myself, and a gratitude for the gift that I was given. And now that that is complete, it's time for me to now do the expansions that you're watching right now, and that's going back to the script of Symbolicy to get back into the story, into the characters. And the way I'm going to do it is to do the expansions that I wrote for them in the story, to kind of see how that opens me up as a creator, to give me better direction for this film, and better, hopefully better tell the stories of the characters. As a child, I used to visualize people from all walks of life and time. And once I got a clear picture of them, I'd always think to myself, if this person existed once here on Earth, or do they still exist? And what is their message, and why am I seeing and feel their energy? So this expansion is kind of similar to visualizing these people. However, this time I know they exist. I know they once had a life here on Earth. So what I do, I plan on finding several different photos and taking those people out of there and using them as inspiration, kind of to tell their story, to give me some guidance in this dream expansion. At the same time, I'll pay tribute to them by doing an artistic collage based on the imagery of the 3 dreams that were represented. And hopefully this will give me some kind of guidance, some kind of creative opening from these people that I chose from these vintage photos. Ella's expansions are very similar to Anthony, however the rules have changed a little bit. So part of the expansion is for me to write down any questions, any thoughts, any feelings, any guidance that I want to receive, whatever it may be. And what I'll do is I'll write them down on a piece of paper, cut them up, and then I'll fold them up. And then what I'll do is put them into a Ziploc bag, shake it up, and let the games begin. So in my Symbolicy projects, there are countless ways to do these expansions. So a part of this expansion, what I do is put the good energy out and shake it up, the Ziploc bag, put good energy and see what I need to, what I'm going to use as guidance. And I'm going to pick out one of these questions, one of these ideas. And then what I'm going to do for 3 nights is record my dreams. And then at the very end, blend all this dream information together in hopes to create a kind of a positive outcome, a positive a positive kind of guidance story, whatever it may be, that would reflect the question or the idea that I picked out of the Ziploc bag in order to tell the story. I love that in our lives here on Earth that we're surrounded by the sacredness of numbers on a daily basis. Just like letters, there's an art form to the combos that you can do with numbers as well. So when you find ways to blend those two together, you can truly open up a variety of creative possibilities. I love the idea that you can give a musician a set of numbers, and he can transfer that information and play it on the guitar. And so why not, use that inspiration and create names and words and phrases and blend it with, the alphabet. Blend the alphabet with the corresponding numbers and play that information on the guitar, and have that be the new inspiration. It could be names and words and people and inspiration. I'm going to create from that. So because I'm going to kind of take this expansion light, I'm going to start with just my initials, what happen to be BNG. When you translate my alphabet into the numbers, that equals 2137. So my first challenge is to play the bass line of 2137. because there's such a large gap between the 2 and 13, I decided to create another option called Keep Them Separated, where I separate the 1 and the 3, giving it a 2, 1, 3, 7 combo. But I don't want to keep them separated for long, so I want to bring them together to kind of see what they're made of. So I add the 1 and 3 together, give it a 2, 4, 7 baseline combination. So again, these possibilities are endless when creating different kind of phrases and words and incorporating the thing. So why don't we take a stand and kind of keep rolling with this kind of energy and see what we can create. Okay, so last but not least, one of the driving forces behind Symbolicy Script and one of the main characters, Sage. And part of Sage's story is about honoring of the mystic Simon J. Moyer. And it's her goal to deliver his words, his message, to be able to tell his story. You know, it's her goal to tell his story. But in order to do that, and part of her expansion is to kind of go back into her inner child and kind of heal events from her past. So part of getting into her character, that's what I kind of prepare to do with this expansion. I plan on kind of going back to events in my life where I felt nervous, scared, worried, doubt, or hurt in any situation, and kind of go back as my current self, to go back and do these guided imagery and meditations to help heal the inner child, to give it a new life, a new feel, a new ending to the story, to give it a positive kind of outlook. So as I return to my current self, I turn to my future self and I give gratitude and thanks for the guiding light as I travel to the next stages of future development. Part of this expansion is to receive the universal message with the help of a radio station and my imagination. Kind of as of late, in the last couple of years or so, I've been kind of on this blues, jazz, classical, new age kind of kick. But in order for the expansion to really work, I'll have to tune into a more lyrically based station. So I'm going to head back to a close musical companion of 13 years, a station that's for the people, by the people, of 90.3 KEXP here in Seattle. And with my Symbolicy project, there are possibilities are endless. But since this expansion is about my inner child, I'll use my birthday as inspiration. So for 4 days, I will tune into KEXP at 4:19, and I'll write down the name of the band and the song that's being played. I'll then get the lyrics of all 4 of those songs and blend them together to tell the universal message, tell a story about where I'm at in my life, what direction I'm going, and, what can come out of this story when I create it. Let's see what are the possibilities of this project and what needs to be told. And then that I can do is also represent these bands that I use their material and blended those 4 together. And hopefully that'll help spread the word and generate what I'm doing, so we'll see how that goes and tell this universal message. The script Symbolicy is the prequel, the story that takes place before my journey to Symbolicy began. And the one thing that bridges the end of Symbolicy and the beginning of my journey was the Symbolicy packet. Now inside these packets are, filled with all these offbeat and creative concept exercises entitled expansions. And when applied, these expansions open the reader to a kind of deeper level within themselves. So once I knew beginning stages of the project, and I knew that the packet was the kind of source of transformation, and I was creating these videos, so I decided now I need to kind of create a prop. And so that's when I kind of created this pseudo packet, filled with this miscellaneous expansions and whatnot, in honor of the man, the myth, the legend of the project, Simon J. Moyer. Now, I haven't seen or looked at any of this kind of material in over about 6 or 7 years, but part of my expansion of kind of going back in time to kind of better my future, I plan on doing these expansions to my best ability to kind of open me up and to kind of see where it takes me. As we enter the new stage of development of binder and expansion, it's time to give this journey your new name. Symbolicy, tell this vision. Symbolicy, tell this vision. So now that you have a name for this journey, it's time to lay the foundation. It's time to take a step back in order to move forward. So what I need you to do is write your fears, worries, and doubts. This will help create the inner dialogue to allow new positive affirmations to come through. So now that I have the list, what are the next stages? What you need to do now is go to your hypnotherapy book and go to the self-esteem chapter. Read the material and then apply it to your new expansion. So now that you have your positive list, you no longer need the negative one. It no longer applies to it. I am strong, full of love, and I belong. I am confident, I am strong, full of love, and I belong. I'm confident, I am strong, full of love, and I belong. I'm confident, I am strong, full of love, and I belong. I am confident, I am strong, I am full of love, and I belong. Now that you have a positive affirmation, I want you to cut them up, fold them, and put them into a Ziploc bag. And every day, until the bag is empty, I want you to take out that positive affirmation and expand on it, add new light and energy to it. Believe in the highest source of love, for it will only. Believe in the highest source of love, for it will only guide you. Believe in the highest source of love, for it will only guide you to worlds far beyond these walls. So part of the packet, there's an option for you to work on your inner child by coloring the doodles left throughout the packet. But kind of since I've already done that on several occasions throughout the Symbolicy series, this time around I kind of plan on taking those outdated doodles and blend them together to kind of tell a new story. And once I can construct new pictures based on the lines and the symmetry between the two little doodles, then I'll create a bigger picture, maybe 3 or 4 different of these, these combinations. And then finally, I can then kind of work with my inner child to kind of color in these ideas, these new pictures, and these new ideas, and kind of see what I can create from blending the past into telling a new story. In my friend Dreams expansion, it's all about finding inspiration through the dreams by expanding upon each other. So in this section, my dreams become the stories become the inspiration, and the inspiration becomes my guide. I usually like to start off dream expansions with like having an intention or a question to use as guidance. But however, with this expansion, I plan on starting the first half with having no intention, no questions, and no expectations. This kind of allows me to kind of go in blindly and kind of give me a good indication to where I'm at with my dream consciousness. For 3 nights, I will document my dreams to the fullest. I will then take the dream notes, incorporate them into my imagination, and then I'll create a story based on the imagery of those dreams. And so once I have the no expectation dream story, it's time to use it as inspiration for the next stages of dream expansion. And just like my first expansion, I will create 3 days of dream notes and imagery and then turn it into a story. However, there are 2 new rules that apply. The first thing is the intention, the mantra of sorts. In the first expansion, I didn't have an intention. So this time around, my mantra will be asking for guidance for the 3 days of dreams. The second thing is different is the story. When I first started the expansion, I didn't have a story to work off. But now that I've created the first dream story, it's now time to, I will now use that story as a meditational guide. So for those 3 nights, I will read the story before heading to sleep, trying to get back into the energy of the dream, and feel it and get back into it, with the intentions of asking for guidance. So after the 3 nights of guidance seeking dreams, I'll blend them together to tell yet another story of inspiration for the 3rd dream expansion. part of the third and final expansion, the game changes, but the story remains the same. My intentions before falling asleep is that of giving and sending love to those who have played a role in my life. It'll be a chance to pay tribute to friends and family who have passed, to people I probably will never see again here on Earth, to people who are on my path currently. So when you get that energy for 3 nights to kind of send love, and blending it with a story about guidance through the dreams, it's my hopes that when they come together, it's going to tell yet another story, another conclusion, the final story, tell the final story of these of my friend dreams expansion, tell the final story of this expansion, my friend dreams. As I said on many counts, there are many possibility and combinations when doing these Symbolicy expansions. So for this final expansion, it's no longer about these dreams, but it's all about telling a bigger picture. What I plan on doing is taking those 3 major dreams and kind of blending them together to kind of see how they can kind of work off each other. So I may have to do a little deconstruction and use my imagination to kind of rebuild a new story that tells the elements of these stories kind of as a full combo. So now that I've completed the packet expansion and the inner child art combo, perhaps now I'll re-edit the packet to a more detailed, more refined way to approach these expansions. And once I can complete the Symbolicy packet, and once the Symbolicy packet is complete, perhaps then, just like the script, I'll go out around the Seattle area and drop off these packets at random spots in hopes that strangers will come across these packets, read it, and apply it to their lives and hopefully transform them somehow, some way. And it's my hopes that they can, make contact with me to let me know how they made those transitions, how they've opened up themselves as a person reading this material. And lastly, it's a way for me to connect to people out there and let them know what I'm doing, and hopefully they can spread the word and take it from there. It's all about literally about expanding what I'm doing. So for me, going back and doing this is like a tribute to the man, the myth, the legend, getting back into the character of Simon J. Moyer. It also opens me up as a creator to see what direction I want to take it when I rework on this script, when I take it to the next level.